Welcome to Speak for Yourself. I'm Jason Whitlock. That's Marcellus Wiley. That dude.
Sure.
Coming up, we'll tell you if the Eagles need to be worried about Carson Wentz's future.
And I've got another installment of the
Emmy Award winning.
That dudes. But we start every day with a Whitlock. What you got today, big dog?
All right, the Cowboys are starting to gloat. They're feeling a bit too good about themselves. My good friend Clarence Hill at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram penned a story yesterday titled, "Why a Giddy Jerry Jones is Feeling Vindicated on Amari Cooper and Calls to Clean House." Troy Aikman told a Dallas radio station that Dak Prescott deserves to be the face of the Cowboys franchise. Kevin Sherrington at the Dallas Morning News celebrated what he called the undeniable growth of the Cowboys offense and the partnership between Dak and Amari. The whole city of Dallas needs to pump the brakes. I'm talking about everybody. Tom Landry, Too Tall Jones, Roger Staubach, Tony Dorsett, Michael Irvin. Cowboys fans are being set up for a major disappointment. This whole thing reminds me of the TV show Dallas. Marcellus, I think you're probably too young to remember Dallas.
Oh, yeah, I am.
It was a primetime soap opera in the 1980s that everybody watched, and I mean everybody.
All y'all.
80 million Americans tuned in one Friday night to find out who shot J.R. Ewing.
Who shot?
Everybody on the show was a huge superstar. Larry Hagman, Patrick Duffy, Victoria Principal, Charlene Tilton, and Linda Gray. Anyway, Patrick Duffy played Bobby Ewing, the good brother to the evil and conniving J.R. Ewing, played by Larry Hagman. Patrick Duffy got to feeling so good about his career, he decided he didn't need the show Dallas anymore. So he left, and they killed his character off the show. He died heroically trying to save his gorgeous wife Pamela in a car crash. A year later, when he couldn't find any work, Patrick Duffy decided he wanted to return to Dallas. And so the writers started the next season of Dallas saying the entire previous season was all a dream in Pam Ewing's head. Bobby showed up in the new season naked in the shower like nothing had happened. Dallas was never the same after that. The show quit being culturally relevant. My point is, it's way too early to crown Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. This whole 5-game winning streak has been a dream scenario for Dak. He's been carried by his defense. This Sunday, the Cowboys are going to have major problems with Andrew Luck and the Colts. Yes, Dallas is going to win the NFC East. They have a 2-game lead. Washington doesn't have a quarterback. The Eagles are still drunk on their Super Bowl title. The ghost of Eli Manning is still quarterbacking the Giants. But Prescott isn't playing nearly well enough to beat the Saints, Rams, or the Bears on the road in the playoffs. He's going to wake up from this dream scenario and have to make plays for all 4 quarters at some point. It's foolish to anoint Dak. He played well as a rookie with Tony Romo hovering over his shoulder. It seems to me the key to getting the best out of Dak is by keeping the pressure on him. He performs best under pressure. I got to be careful with my green drinks before the show.
What was that?
You let Dak get comfortable and full of himself, that's when he makes the kind of mistakes that led Patrick Duffy to leave the show Dallas and spark the biggest script writing disaster in TV history. I can see it all now. It's going to happen in Dallas. Joining the desk now, Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings and Seth Joyner.
Somebody who actually watched Dallas too with his old bud.
You're right.
The show, wasn't it? Anyway,
Yeah.
Marcella, start with you. Jerry Jones Cowboys, are they getting a bit too cocky?
They are, man. You nailed that. It's amazing, too. He has a sense of humor, man. He knows who's to give success to and who not to because, boy, let me be a Hall of Famer. Think I would have rabbit ears? You think I would be sitting there like Jerry Jones always saying, who's against me? Or what critics exist? I want to shut them up. I think that's a troubling mindset for a guy so accomplished like Jerry Jones. He needs to walk around sometimes and just show people his 3 fingers, those 3 Lombardis I got. I don't care how distant they are, because I'll show them no fingers. And I played a decade, man. And this is a guy who just doesn't find the peace in his own success. And he's externally motivated. We all know it's better to be internally motivated, to count those with you than those against you. And looking at this Cowboys team, why ride that wave? You haven't accomplished anything. Just a month ago, we were writing you off. Now, we're writing you on. what's going to happen now? You're going to sit there and say, this is exactly what I wanted. Keep your eyes on the prize. It starts at the top. Jerry Jones, don't mislead this team into thinking that they've done something they haven't. It's too early in the season.
What are the guys in the locker room doing? They're focusing on the games. This is what Jerry Jones does. He takes it and he gets out in front of it so that none of his players have to take it and answer all these questions. For me, the Dallas Cowboys are just fine. He's right. He won the Amari Cooper deal.
Yeah.
They're having success. They were taking a lot of heat with Dak Prescott in his lack of what he was able to do. Then when he acquired Amari Cooper, it was the pressure is really on Dak now. Is he going to be able to perform? He's performed. The team is winning. They're fine. The guys in that locker room are locked in on winning game. Kyle Vander Esch said, look, we have no other options but to win out. So that's their mentality within the locker room. That's all that really matters.
I'm trying to figure out how I can get through this segment in the most unbiased way. Because the hate is still real. Okay? It's still real.
Right.
This is what Dallas does. This is who Dallas is. I had a guy this morning on Twitter chirping at me, a Dallas Cowboy fan. And I said, you know what? Dallas Cowboy fans are just like roaches when the raid is sprayed. Here they come. Here they come. You know, but this is what Jerry does. You know, he ran Jimmy Johnson out of town when he formulated and put together a great team. He won one with Switzer, and he struggled all of these years. And now all of a sudden, you know, they're on top of the NFC East. The NFC freaking East is what that's all they've accomplished right now. Okay? Yeah, they're looking better. They're looking better as a football team. There's no doubt about that. Okay? But you haven't accomplished anything yet. You haven't even won. Enjoy, Dallas Cowboy fans, enjoy this playoff run because you're going to play one game. And that's it.
Man, well, you didn't get through the segment like you wanted.
He did.
You did. You were holding strong. It came out. It just leaked.
You let the hate out.
You let the hate out. Yeah. All right. The funniest thing about it is it gives credence to the Belichick Patriot way. It gives credence to a Nick Saban, those close to the vest leaders of their organization and programs who highly disturb me because it's not entertaining. It's not what I want. I want to pull the thread and get something from you. But the reason they keep it close to the vest is because it really keeps that locker room focused narrowly on what the goal is. When you start getting into all these other conversations, I don't necessarily say distractions, because I played for Jerry Jones. And who he is to the media and to the outside world is not who he is to an active player. We're not caught up in that. We're not watching his press conferences. We're not sitting there in the tunnel waiting for him to hold his scrum. We're not a part of that. We're a part of a guy who takes care of us, gives us proper resources, and is always supportive. That said, when those questions start to bombard you, you start to realize what is going on. Who's out there driving this force that is coming to try and penetrate our locker room?
Well, you know,
I think it's unnecessary.
The problem is we talk about this top-down approach when you're talking about organizations. It just doesn't start with the coach. It starts with the owner. Mm-hmm. So the message that he sends from the top gets filtered down to the coaches, down to the players, you know. So he can like the celebrity and being all out there in front of it. But the players are the one, he writes the check. Yeah. The players got to go out there on Sunday or Monday or Thursday and cash that check.
Mm-hmm. Here's the issue, and it's a serious issue. Over the past decade, the Cowboys have had some nice winning streaks in the middle of their season, at some point in their season, and then it falls apart. And I think it's again, and I think Jerry has put together a beautiful plan, building that defense, getting Amari Cooper. I'm gonna give him credit, but they seem since Jimmy Johnson has left, they seem to struggle with handling success. Yeah. And that's where Jerry needs to look in the mirror, because I contend, again, with Dak Prescott, and early in the year I was hopeful, and I've come to a conclusion. Dak's okay as long as there's some pressure, real pressure on him. His rookie year with Tony, should they bring Tony Romo back? The guy performed that entire time. Now this season nearly fell apart. A lot of questions about Dak. And then they get Amari Cooper. He started to play better. why take any of this pressure off of Dak Prescott when he seems to play best when he's under pressure?
It's funny you say that. Jerry Jones literally said, I perform my worst when I'm praised. And you just said it. Basically, when this team starts to get praised, it comes from the top down. Jerry Jones like, I need a little hate in the world, in the universe, for me to go out there and feel it. And there are some people like that. They're externally motivated by negativity. I'm not built that way. I like peace, happiness. Hey, if I want to go get it, I don't give a damn if you're with me or against me. I'm going to go get it. And Jerry Jones is not leading his team by that example. He literally says, I need some hate for me to be great, which to me is going to set this team up once again for another late season failure.
See, I'm unbiased. I'm completely unbiased, and I've been highly critical of Dak Prescott as well as the Dallas Cowboys. And what I've seen is them answer the bell. Even when you look at your former team, the Eagles, chattering, saying that the Dallas Cowboys, they do this every year. They'll fold. Did they fold on this past Sunday? No. They
3 quarters.
No, but my point is they did not fold. They finished. We all know the number one word we hear all the time is finish. This Dallas Cowboy team has found a way to finish. Whether we like the way they start in their middle of the game playing, they finish ball games, and that's all that matters. And they have an owner who is excited about what he sees in the future, and why not?
It's a lot easier to finish, when there's a 12th man on the field. I'm going to leave it at that.
You'll put that VHS tape up.
But the thing I would tell you, you make a great point about Dak. When Dak was competing for a starting job last year,
rookie year.
His rookie year, rather. Dude played lights out. All of a sudden, Tony decides, when Jerry says, I'm giving the job to Dak, and he basically told Tony, probably be good for you to go ahead and take that broadcasting job. Okay? There was no pressure on him last year. And you can say what you want about Zeke being in and out. I realize I'm of the opinion that Zeke is really the gas that makes that engine go. If he's not there, then they're not going to have success. I don't care how many wide receivers or what they do. He's the guy that makes it go. Now, all of a sudden, I think Dak is about to experience a different kind of pressure because he's never been in the playoffs in a situation like this. He's going to experience something completely different because now the expectations are different. When they went 13-3, it was all new. It was a first-time experience. But this time through, the expectations are going to be higher because when you start chirping and the expectations are up, you got to step up and answer the bell. And this is a different type of pressure than what you're talking about. When you're fighting for your life, that's one thing. You're fighting for your career, that's one thing. But when you're fighting to live up to the expectations of a city, of an organization, of a bunch of teammates that's behind you, I don't see it quite yet. And I've always said, I sat right here on this set and I told you, I said, you know what? Dak is going to be a good quarterback. I don't ever see him being an elite quarterback.
Well, I want to be clear that I agree with Greg that going forward, who knows how this could play out? This could be a Super Bowl championship team.
You never know.
But I will say this, my own experiences tell me I'm not going to use the same formula that has been a formula of failure for me and my organization and then think that this time it's going to work out. That's when you start to get into the place where I think the Dallas Cowboys are. They're kind of using the same mentality and formula that has led to so many.
Are you talking about Jerry?
Before, from Jerry on down.
Well, see, that therein lies the problem because if he's using the same formula, then in his mind he thinks and believes that it's not his formula, it's not his system, it's something else.
The definition of insanity.
Time for a big story. Whitlock and Wiley, Greg Jennings and Seth Joyner are back. Let's move to Philadelphia, where the Eagles' Super Bowl hangover just got a whole lot worse. Carson Wentz did not practice today because of stiffness in his back and reportedly is not expected to play this Sunday against the Rams. But according to the NFL's network's Ian Rappaport, Wentz could actually end up being shut down for the entire season, which is only 3 or 4 games left. My take on this is Carson Wentz has taken a step back this year. And, every year he's been in the league, there's been an injury issue. And this year, just in terms of performance, I think we blame the knee. His performance backed up. And that's just not good. That's not a good trend line. I think the talent is there. but I think mentally the physical injuries will start to take a toll. And then also, I'm just sorry, when you sit and watch the other quarterback lead your team to the Super Bowl, that takes a ding on your confidence as well. I would be concerned about Carson Wentz.
I'm very concerned for Carson Wentz. We all know the cliche greatest ability is availability. Before you become anyone in this NFL, first you have to survive, then you thrive. And right now, he can't survive the rigors of the game. And let's go back to his collegiate experience. Hurt in college. Some people say, hey, I don't want to draft this kid because in his last year of college, I saw him injured as well. And if you look at all the injuries that he's accumulated in such a short career, take it from one injury-prone player to another, you don't fully realize that until the end of your career, and then you can put that stamp on it. Right now, he's trying to climb that mountain once again. But what happens is what you touched on, Whitlock. Physically, your body may say, we're back. But mentally, your mind's like, I'm scared of falling down that hill again, and I'm also not prepared to go sixth gear again. We saw that early season Carson Wentz. We're seeing it in basketball and Gordon Hayward. He's allergic to the rim right now. He's like, I'm not going in there. I know what happens. Pain is highly intelligent. And the trauma he's been through is going to start to take a toll on him if he doesn't get back on that field and gain some consistent confidence. So I feel for the kid, and I also look at him as a franchise quarterback. Got to put the question mark behind it if he's not going to be out there on a consistent basis.
I'm not concerned with Carson Wentz. I think where it starts for me is when you look at a young player who wants to get back out there on the field, you have to pull him back. You have to say, look, we have to do what's in the best interest of the organization and the team moving forward. Don't listen to the chatter because you started off a little slow and the offense didn't look as good and as great as it did entering into the playoffs and through the playoff run with Nick Foles. When I look at the Indianapolis Colts and what they did with their quarterback, they did not allow him to go back out there. And we constantly, what are they doing? Why aren't they allowing him to get back out there? And it turned out to be in their best interest for the future of where they're headed. And so I think they rushed him back. And for him, he wanted to get back out there because of what he did see in a Nick Foles, and he wanted to be the reason why. Look, everybody feels like that. Everybody wants to be the reason why and get the praise and have a contributing piece of what they experienced without him later in the playoff run.
You know, I was, let me be as unbiased now as I was biased before.
So it's not going to happen.
Yeah, right. We ain't going to finish
The thing about, you got to understand the pressures that go along with being a Super Bowl champion and the pressure that was upon him to now step in after your backup not only took the team to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl, but walked away with the MVP and the invite to Disneyland, okay? So he was chomping at the bit all summer long. He wanted to get in, they held him back. And after the Eagles got off to a slow start, they made a decision, okay, game 3, they brought him back. Okay, so you can't tell me there's a whole bunch of rhythm that's going on between him and his wide receivers, and he's got a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterbacks coach. You know, all of these dynamics are going on. His number one wide receiver didn't come back till the week after. There's a lot of excuses and a lot of reasons why Carson Wentz is playing the way that he's playing right now. I would be a naysayer to anyone who believes that he's not going to be the franchise player that the Eagles drafted him to be, because I've watched up front and personal too many great things that he's done. Not only last year, but even this year. There's been some plays that make you just, shake your head. So, and he's still in that development process in my opinion. I got a 3-year window on any player that comes into the NFL. 3 years. Barring injury. Now, he's had injuries and he's missed some time, but after 3 years, I want to see what you look like, what you're going to be, who you are, what your habits are. Because what you look like after 3 years of playing in the NFL, you're either going to ascend and realize your talent, or you're never going to get there. Well, and I just don't see it from this guy because, he lives, sleeps, eats, breathes football. He wants to be great. You know,
You got to get on that field and have consistent success, and he hasn't had that.
well, I mean, you can't just
You can't
nullify.
compare him to Luck, though. Luck had a lot more success.
I understand
Early
that,
success,
but
day
you can't nullify 13 wins
Hold
last
on.
year either.
Yes, you can. You know how? Not being available. This is not
no.
about pressure. This is not about potential. This is about every single year you have played fewer games for this team. You went from 16 to 13 to 11. Where's that trending? Now, I'm not saying it has to continue to go downward, but we have to now respect the fact that you came here hurt. You came into the league injured with the wrist. Now we got ACL, LCL, PCL, MCL. Now we have back. Once the back goes, I had a back surgery, that opens up the door of compensation. Not to say you're going to get injured going further, but this is not a shoulder. I've had a shoulder surgery as well. A shoulder is completely different than the central component of your core system. And when you're having mental issues that come from that because you're trying to play yourself back and physical toll, that's a formula for disaster. And he's right now in that process.
There are a lot of things that transpire when you get a ACL / LCL injury like that. You start compensating in other areas.
Everywhere.
And my thing is, I don't think there's no way you can be 100%. You know, my 12th year in the league, I had a meniscus tear, got surgery, came back after 6 games, played on a knee that was 70% in the Super Bowl 33, or 32 it was, okay? And I didn't start feeling better. Now, I'm just talking about a meniscus. You're talking about an ACL and an LCL with this kid. And he came back in 9 months where most players don't come back to 10 months or later. Okay, so there's other things that are going on. And when it says back soreness, not back surgery, you know? And then there's so many other dynamics that you got to throw into it, because when I look at Carson, I still think that Carson's in the developmental stage. And I don't like this narrative that's being thrown out in offensive football right now that says, you throw the ball early a lot to get the lead and then you run it later on to run the clock out. I don't believe that. I think that when you run the football, you protect your quarterback, you allow him to run play action pass, and your offense is so much more efficient. That guy came back, man, the first 4 games that he played, he got hit an average of 12 times a game. And 4 sacks a game.
So Greg made the best point. They rushed him back too soon.
And that's my only comparison to Andrew Luck. It's not about his playing and what he produced early in his career, because Andrew Luck was off the chart when he started. My point is, when Andrew Luck got injured, everybody, all fans, even the Colts organization, they wanted him back out there. But they knew somebody in-house was like, no, we're not going to rush him back because we know what we have. We've seen what we have, and we're going to secure what we have.
It's time for Dat Dudes Dudes. Marcellus, what you got?
Emmy Award winning.
Emmy
Dat
Award
Dudes. You better show some
Get it
love
right,
to the
Ron
big
Burgundy,
uglies.
man.
It's time to go in the trenches where the uglies reside, Jason Whitlock and myself included. And it's time for Dat Dudes Dudes. We're going to go with number 3. Chicago Bears tackle Bradley Soul. Soul, man. We've all seen this play, but we all haven't seen how this play occurred. I got to break it down for you. As you can see, Bradley Soul, look at him. In the end zone and then doing the dance fever.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good dance too, right? Got to watch out. Now, look how they come out in heavy set. Now, this is next level jumbo heavy set. We have all linemen on one side, outweighing the Rams. So now the Rams are sitting there like all these reindeer out here as they're going to run their play, which is called Santa's Sleigh. All right, now we see my man Bradley Soul out there in the position, and then you can see, who is that refrigerator wannabe? Oh, we know who that is. That's my man Akeem Hicks. We're going to give him a play action fake. Look at the Rams biting on this play action fake. Why? We've seen Hicks actually run this play before, but no one's paying attention to Bradley Soul. Why is an offensive lineman standing up when all the other ones are drive blocking? Interesting. Bradley Soul is looking in the end zone. Doesn't look like a run block to me. Looks like a guy who's going to go out there on pass release. He gave you the only telltale sign as Santa's Sleigh play works. Bradley Soul becomes our third Dat Dude of the week. Let's go with number 2. Just stay in that game. It was a damn good game. Defensive tackle Eddie Goldman. battering the ram. Eddie Goldman, oh my God. This is old school technique. The new school cats say they don't teach you this way, but obviously this man has an old soul. He went out there with a battering ram technique. Watch this butt and bench. That means you headbutt the offensive lineman, and then you bench press him. I'm telling you, they almost outlawed this because it was giving guys the business. And you can see right now, Eddie Goldman, butt, bench with that ram. Look out, a ram against a ram. Which ram won? The bear. And now he stands him up. That is perfect leverage, perfect bench pressing on your heels. Jason Whitlock, come on, baby.
Is that the rookie center from Michigan State, I think? Brian Allen.
You're calling him out right there. So. And my man is now the mummy. And poor Jared Goff. Take that. Number 2, that dude of the week. Now let's go to number 1. Oh, my God. Texans DN J.J. Watt. The great Watt Shark. Look at them. You can't be this big, this fast, this strong, and this technically sound. I am not showing you guys this play just because J.J. Watt is great. I'm showing you how he made this happen. Look at that electricity. He's the only one moving, y'all. J.J. Watt, that big, that fast, that strong, and still getting off the rock. You can see now, as he gets into position, you can see the offensive tackle is going to slam block. Oh, he's coming down. J.J. Watt, film study, realizes it, anticipates it, and says, oh, you want to slam down? Let me just hit you with a nice silky slim. Woo, right there, silky slim as we called it. Swim move right over the top. While you're leaning, I go over the top of you, and that is just amazing. And then this is where the real technique kicks in. You got to get in that gap. And you get in that gap by having your head upfield like Indiana Jones, and right before the door slams, make sure you get in there. Now he gets skinny, head upfield in proper position, and then lockout arm for leverage to make sure you can't recover and push me past the quarterback. And then it's time for the great Watt Shark to go to business. Come out that water and go get Andrew Luck. Bring him down to the turf. Greg Jennings is hurt because Andrew Luck is hurt on that play right there. J.J. Watt, you are our number 1 dat dude of the week. Oh, my
Very fitting. Great job. Awesome stuff, Marcellus.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, let's switch gears and move to Baltimore, where the Ravens have officially named Lamar Jackson the starter for the foreseeable future, moving Joe Flacco into the backup role. While Jackson's passing has been limited so far, he's still managed to guide the Ravens to a 3-1 record since taking over. Today, Ravens coach John Harbaugh insisted Joe Flacco would still have a big role with the team.
Listen, there's a very good chance we're going to need Joe Flacco and any other player that's in that role, a backup role, to win us a game. That's how everybody's a starter in the National Football League, and that, that's just the way it is. That's a fact, and keep it simple, keep it about football, and let's roll.
John, do you expect this decision to be reassessed every week?
I don't expect anything besides Sunday. That's what I know. We have Sunday in front of us, and that's what we're focused on. But I'll say this, Lamar Jackson's a starting quarterback.
Joe's still part of the team. It's his team still, just like it's mine. It's all of our team. We brothers. We here together each and every day. We've been here since camp, putting our life on the line. It's still his team, man. Ain't nothing changed.
All right, what they didn't show you was that John Harbaugh had both his fingers crossed behind his back as he was talking. And our question is, smart of the Ravens to go all in on Lamar Jackson, and I don't think they've gone all in. I think John Harbaugh made it very clear, yeah, we're going to do this until it doesn't work. And that could be this week, next week. It could be a 2-minute drive in this next game. If they get into a 2-minute offensive situation, I expect Joe Flacco to run onto the field and run it. And so I don't think they're all in on Lamar Jackson. I think they're committed to a style of play. We're going to run the ball and play defense. And Lamar Jackson, we're going to do that until we need to do something else inside of a game.
Look, man, I got to decode all the BS I just saw on that podium right there from both. Not only Coach Harbaugh, but also when you're talking about Lamar Jackson. This is still Joe Flacco's team. The competitor in you is not thinking that, but obviously the PC version of being the quarterback has to say that in this early moment. I get that. Here's the real. This is a decision that is economically rooted, and it happened as soon as they drafted him, moved up to the 32nd pick and said, we're taking Lamar Jackson. When you take Lamar Jackson in the first round, one, you can have him on a rookie deal for 5 years instead of 4 years, economically rooted. Second of all, so you have him for cheaper. Second of all, you're sitting there looking at Joe Flacco making all that money, and you're like, ooh. There's nothing worse in the NFL of non-guaranteed contracts than you have a backup that is comparable. Whatever that may mean to people who sit at this round table, and that round table is the capologist, team president, general manager, head coach, position coach, and they all give their input. Joe Flacco's playing great. And then they say, well, he's playing okay. And then they say, how's Lamar? He's coming along, but he's not there yet. Capologist says, it's only a few $100,000. How far along has he come? Team president sits there. Everyone's sitting there with a different vantage point of how do we come to this conclusion. And as soon as that gap doesn't even close, it gets close enough where you can justify paying a Lamar Jackson and at that low rate versus Joe Flacco. And what are we going to get for Joe Flacco? Are we winning the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco? No. So this team has already turned the page, in my eyes, to Lamar Jackson, and it was based on the dollars. It just made too much sense.
I think they've turned the page as well. When you look at anytime you're in a locker room and you have a guy who could potentially start, but he's not. He's not quite ready. He's not quite sharp where he needs to be, but the guys in the locker room are lobbying for him. That will make you play at another clip. When you have a guy underneath that center that you can trust, he may not be all of what we need him to be, but you know what? He's going to give it 110% every time he's out there. They have tailored that offense around him. They know who they are. They know where he's not as strong. They don't care about that because they're going to have the offseason to grow on that. And now you tell Joe Flacco, look, you want to be the ultimate team player? You coach this guy on the sideline. When he comes off the sideline, you do what any other great quarterback would do. I understand you got a competitor in you, but you got to pour into this young man and show us that you are part of this team, not just for yourself.
What great quarterback are you talking about? Brett Favre said he wasn't helping Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely, but he didn't lose his job to Aaron Rodgers and have to stand on the sideline.
I know, I digress.
Okay,
I couldn't let that fly. 'Cause Tom Brady's kind of the same way. I agree with you, Marcellus. I believe that they have moved on. You know, you don't take a guy with the 32nd pick, you know, without there being some conversation about what this season is going to entail and look like. We all knew at some point in time he was going to get on the field whether Joe Flacco got hurt or not. I think that they've looked at Joe Flacco ever since Joe Flacco has won the Super Bowl, and they had to pay him. And then that meant that, you know, in paying him, they mortgaged the rest of the team because they couldn't pay anybody else to be competitive anymore. They've sat back and they've watched Joe Flacco's level of play year after year after year. Listen, right now they know what they got. They know what he is. He may flash and have a good game. He might have 2 or 3 bad games. He might have a great game. He might have a horrible game. Well, you know, when you're paying him that kind of money and it limits your ability to build the rest of your football team, then that capologist and that owner and that GM, all those people start to think, okay, we got to make a move here. And that's what you're seeing right now. You're seeing that transition. And they're just telling Joe Flacco, hey, you know, be a good soldier.
I don't think they've moved on.
Really?
No, I really don't. I think they've made a move in that direction, but they haven't moved. I think if you listen to Lamar Jackson, I think he's self-aware, honestly.
No.
I think Lamar Jackson.
He's being a good teammate.
You're being a good teammate.
100%.
Why do I have to fight for something that you giving me? I ain't got to fight for it. I'm going to just say the nice thing.
I'm going to say what I need to say.
What I need to say.
But you
give it to me anyway.
You didn't hear the end part. He said it's still Joe Flacco's team, like it is mine.
Exactly.
Lamar Jackson is self-aware. His mother's self-aware, who's the manager. I'm telling you, they've been watching this kid run the football. And Lamar Jackson, and again, that's why we talked earlier in the week, he's running with 1 foot on the gas and 1 foot on the brake.
Right.
Lamar Jackson doesn't want, he knows, him and his mama both know, my career will be short running the football in the way they're playing me, mama. I don't really think Lamar Jackson wants to be the guy right now. I think he knows he's not fully ready to play the way he needs to play to survive in this league. If he has to just go out there every week and run the ball 15 to 20 times, it's going to be over soon, and he knows it.
Is that based on play calling or based on my ability?
That's based on both.
Oh.
The play calling is a reflection of his abilities, and this is why I say they haven't moved on. I will guarantee y'all Joe Flacco will be on the field this Sunday in certain situations.
Guaranteed. Is that some more casa
Guaranteed. And Lamar knows it. That's why Lamar said it's still Joe's team and it's still mine. There's situations where they're gonna use Joe Flacco, and Lamar is really good with it because I'm just telling you, he got knocked out of a game 2 weeks ago with a hit to the head. Then it was the ankle injury.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson is smart enough to say, man, I don't want to be running this ball 15 to 20 times with those lines on the other side.
I have not met that player yet.
Thank you.
Have you met that player?
Where
he at?
Let me tell you this.
What?
Let me tell you this. Joe Flacco, whether he play or not, healthy or not, he walk up to that window. He back that Brinks truck up every Monday.
Yeah.
If you think they're gonna let him sit over there and not earn some of that money before they run him up out of Baltimore,
you agree
crazy.
with me?
Yeah, they're gonna play him.
Thank
But
you.
that's okay. But it's still
That's why he said it's both
moving
players.
forward.
Was it Lamar
organization
Jackson's
is
team
gonna
when
be.
he was getting those reps and getting wildcat and getting some snaps? Was it Lamar Jackson's team? No. So don't give me this argument about semantics. The reality is they have turned the page economically, so therefore on the field it just took a matter of time.
I bet you on Monday, when they cut that check for Joe Flacco, they haven't turned the page. They still cutting this man checks, and just like Seth said, they're gonna get something for
I
it.
can't see Lamar saying, Coach, oh, you want me to go and run Wildcat? Nah, it's all right. You just send Joe in there to run.
Yeah,
Where they do that at?
Russell Wilson was getting the Lolos.
All right, welcome back to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock. He's Marcellus Wiley. Time to put on our thinking caps. We're joined by Fox NBA analyst Jim Jackson and Steven Jackson.
Cuzzo.
The Jackson brothers.
Cuzzo.
Jackson, too. We got Tito and Jermaine.
Give me a tissue. Give me a tissue.
I can't get Mike.
All right, Michael and Janet.
Okay.
All right.
I'm more like Joe.
As you all know, I'm a journalist, and we've got our resident Ivy Leaguer over here, Columbia's very own Marcellus Wiley.
Oh, excuse me.
Take a deeper look at a sports issue. We've got a special cap for Marcellus. Darnell, bring it out. Oh, boy.
Watch this. Watch this.
Yeah.
I mean, who thought of that? Was it Darnell?
Oh, no. Gotta earn that check somehow.
All right, let's move to the NBA, where we saw an epic love fest between LeBron James and Dwayne Wade Monday night. After their time sharing the court in
can't get through it.
game, the two have been close friends their whole careers, despite starting out as on-court rivals and later going through a major breakup as teammates. No doubt relationships like theirs have become more common in the modern friendly NBA, but one rising star, the Greek Freak, is looking to buck the trend, saying he turned down the chance to work out with LeBron and Kevin Durant because, quote, I don't want opponents to be buddy-buddy with me. I like the Greek Freak's philosophy. I just think as players, at some point, this isn't all about you and your selfie, and it's about competition and what makes the most business sense. And people go to the games to see great competition, and people compete against each other. The league has gotten too friendly.
And they still get that same competition. And the complexion of it may have changed, but at the core of it, it's still the same. Everyone's holding on to this yesteryear, the 80s, and oh my God, they were so gangsta out there. They hated each other. They didn't even want to speak to each other. Meanwhile, Magic Johnson has just kissed Isaiah Thomas at courtside pre-game on the cheek, and they went out there and went
they
at
came
it.
to blows on the court, though, right?
That's my point.
You see any of these guys coming to blows?
I've seen fights.
No.
I've seen fights. I've seen fights. There's people on this panel that have been throwing them things.
That's a different league than right now.
Okay, well,
This
with
is the
it-
Super Friends League we looking at right now.
And Michael Jordan and his best friend was Oakley, and they go at it, but they still will work out together and know each other. Like, let's stop with this holding on to yesterday, like, oh, that was my era and there's nothing better. These guys are going out there and working at their craft, and why not work with the sharpest knives in the drawer? And if you can't do that, to me, you can't compartmentalize. In every sport I've ever played, I had to hit a switch. And when I'm out there, turn the switch on. It's time to go get you. When it's over, turn the switch off, and I could be who I was before that moment. I don't understand this. I'm going to hide my secret sauce away from you so I could go out there and ball.
Everybody can't do it. Everybody can't work out with guys and still be that same competitor on the court. I totally understand what Greek Freak is saying. I don't want to work out with you in the summertime. You learn my game, I learn your game, and we got to go out and play against each other in battle. That just don't feel right. I understand that, okay, yeah, we want to work out. You have friends off the court. Al Harrington's a perfect example. We are best friends. when the game start, we talking noise like we don't even know each other doing those lines. But some guys can't work out together and play that same way. They friends off the court, they get on the court and they play buddy ball. They let each other score. They don't foul hard. They just let their guy do everything. So it's a difference. But if you can work out with guys and still compete like LeBron and D-Wade do, they best friends. But they go at each other when they play. A lot of guys
Not
in
the
the NBA,
other night, but I hear you.
But a lot of guys in the NBA don't do that, and that's why the game is soft. A lot of guys don't compete.
Remember in the summertime we used to work out here at UCLA?
Yes.
So when I was early in my career, Tracy Murray was a really good friend of mine, still is. I would come and stay at Tracy's place in Marina Del Rey. We'll work out during the day. We'll go to UCLA, then we'll hang at night, then rinse and repeat. But when we got to a game, I didn't want to see no parts of it because he thought he knew my moves, but then I would wrinkle in and do something else. So it was always a mind game with me during that time. So I'm with you on this, that some dudes can handle it, and some guys can't. Now, Giannis, think about this, though. He didn't grow up here, so he didn't play AAU with these guys. He didn't play on the national team with these guys. So his mentality, he's not really friends with them. So I understand where he's coming from.
Underdog mentality.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be here. That's the attitude he has, and I understand that. I understand.
But
He's
some
not really
guys,
shot at the big guys.
my thing is, I look at a guy when if he's going in for a layup and that's your boy, are you gonna foul him hard? Are you really go foul him hard? That's when you know it's crossed the line to buddy-buddy.
Right.
Because you talking about Magic and Isaiah got into it? I mean, got into it.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what I would like to see. Off the court, we cool.
But here's the thing about it. Like, this whole, like, I'm keeping my game secret. Like, can we stop? We watch film.
Nothing's a secret.
Ain't nothing to secret.
KD even
Ain't
said
nothing
it. He
to
was like, I don't give a damn what you do. Keep it secret or not. I'm still getting 30 on you.
Yeah.
What you gonna do?
Exactly.
Hey,
Marcellus, let me tell you the difference between their era and even the era before them, and where I think these young guys have it messed up. Jim Jackson and Steve Jackson and the guys before them, they never spent any time on the phone, in person, talking about, hey, we gonna team up together.
Never.
No.
you know why? Because they couldn't.
I understand that.
So
And
don't
that's
act like they
that's
brave.
where this
They strong.
That's not what I'm saying.
They had no
The
chance.
situation is different,
Yeah.
and that's where this buddy friendship thing interferes with competition. Because if you sit in the back of your mind, hey man, I want to play with KD, am I really going to defend or foul him or play as physical with him as opponents when down the road or the next season I'm thinking about, hey man, we might be teammates?
Absolutely. I thought that if you had a chance to go at your brother, you going at him harder than anybody out there.
Not my brother, no.
Well, your brother may not be good. I don't know if your brother good or not. You might be trying to take care of him. But here's the thing.
would be.
What's crazy is, man, this competition element has always been, when we have intra-squad scrimmages, like we finally get to turn the fire on ourselves,
Yes.
it's gang-related out there. Like,
blood.
it's
It's
blood out
blood,
there.
yes,
Y'all
yes,
talking about now,
yes.
the people that helped me get my game to this level are the exact people I want to show, oh, it's another level you haven't even seen. We never worked on.
And you know, I used to have a get on a lot of guys in practice. Because if you can foul your teammate like that, you better be damn sure you foul the next team like that. And it's a lot of situations like that. That's why I say everybody's not built like that. If you can foul your teammate like that, you should be able to go out there and do it in the game, and guys don't do that.
Yeah, how many times you've been in the game? Well, it gets heated in practice.
Right.
Guys get upset. You foul hard, you push and shove, but then the same thing happens in the game.
Yes.
And it doesn't happen. Now, I'm gonna go back to your point too about back then we couldn't do it. Once you start looking at the collective bargaining agreement and the players begin to get more power and the contracts became bigger, that's when the control came to the players, and that's when you started to really see a lot of this stuff here where guys now got so much more control over when, where, how, and what I want to do with my next deal and who I want to play with. Whereas before, we didn't have that. We were getting traded to wherever the team had control over us. But since that whole dynamic shifted, guys now, listen, what you want to do.
And a lot of our attitudes was, I'm gonna make the best of whatever situation I'm in.
ain't
I'm
no
just happy
choice.
to be here.
Exactly.
It's a totally different situation now.
And so I just want everybody to step back. I was not an elite athlete, nowhere near the pros. I'm a fan first, and I'm talking about what a fan wants to see. Great competition, not all of this buddy. Oh, I'm gonna take care of my guy. We're gonna play together and blah. Best friends. That's not what we want to see. We want to see great competition.
Can I say this, though? What fan base are you thinking about? See, the NBA is thinking about the 14, 15, 16-year-old kids now that's going to be watching this product down the line.
We thinking like you.
We think like you. But what the NBA is looking at those millennials that are watching now and would be long-term fans. That's when, so when they market it,
And they're playing together right now.
They're marketing towards that group.
Eventually, that group, because again, you act like the NBA hasn't gotten softer, and I can put some tape on for you, and if we just watch the evolution of the All-Star game.
Oh, it's softer.
With the players.
Wait a minute.
No. You watch the evolution. They used to compete and really play.
I got a 2-minute video on YouTube right now of Jordan just destroying.
2001, 2000. I was at the All-Star game. Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury came back from down 20 in the second half of an All-Star game in D.C. All-Star games do competitive.
I'll give you a better
those
one.
guys
Hold on, I'll
turned
give
it
you a
up.
better one. I think it was 1988 in Seattle. Chambers won the MVP. Okay.
Yeah.
Rolando Blackman, all these guys went at it. I mean, fouling hard, no layups. First half, they was kind of going through. That second half,
That's when it turned up.
no joke.
My reference points are not an All-Star game. I will show you regular.
You brought it up.
He did. He brought it up. I will show you highlights of less athletic talents going against Michael Jordan with no defense. We act like all we do in every era is remember the highlights. We do it in music. Yo, the golden age of rap was in the 80s and 90s. Man, there was some horrible rappers out there, too.
Oh, no, it was bad, too.
There was
It
some
was bad.
JJ fans, some stutter, and we like.
Hold up, when you hear it now, you like, oh man, that was garbage. Back then, we thought it was tight, but it's garbage.
You
right now.
holding on to the highlights. Remember all of it.
Dude, I'm holding on to a fan's point of view about the lack of competition. And players don't want to hear this. But players, and the more control they have, the softer the game gets.
That's true.
That's true.
Because again, if you got to control everything, wouldn't you make it easier on yourself?
I don't mean to interrupt. We should never see a game where LeBron is getting guarded by a 6'8", 235-pound guy and get back down with 2 dribbles and lays the ball up. Like, that's not competing. You starstruck. I don't care how good LeBron outweighs me by 40 pounds. He would never back me down without using everything he has.
Will you foul out trying to stop
And
him?
I will.
What?
I
Okay.
will because I have pride in the game and I'm competing. You should never see that. And you see that a lot in today's game.
And so, again, I'm just saying, players in control are creating the league. That's why you got this Chicago Bulls situation and these guys going nuts. Oh my God, he made us do push-ups. I'm calling the union.
I played for Pat Riley. We had 2.5-hour practice. Listen, we got drilled by Utah one time. We had a heart rate monitor on, get on the bike, half an hour. Then we went through drills for 2.5. If you turned it over, you were running 17s on the side.
Yes.
So we had, and we had an hour and a half taped shoot around where that was hard.
Yes.
So when I heard that about Chicago, I was like,
I laughed too.
Come on, man.
In order for me to make the Spurs team, I had to do a summer of bear crawls. I was doing bear crawls all summer. It has nothing to do with basketball. I had to stay there, do track exercises, run 100-yard sprints, and do bear crawls just to make the team. What are they talking about?
Dog, what y'all just told me is a Wednesday practice in the NFL.
Right.
In October. What the That's Wednesday, dog.
All right, welcome back to the show. Whitlock and Wiley, joined by Jim Jackson and Steven Jackson. Let's move to Kevin Durant. In a recent interview with The Athletic, KD said that he thinks Michael Jordan is the GOAT and makes all his house guests watch Jordan highlights. He also said Kobe Bryant is the second best player and even mentioned Kyrie Irving in the same breath. But former NBA player Eddie Johnson noticed one name was missing, tweeting, quote, "Where's LeBron in this statement? This jealousy needs to stop." All right, KD's taking a lot of heat for this, and he called the work environment here with the Lakers toxic because of the LeBron circus. Everyone, KD's jealous of LeBron. Even if he is, it doesn't bother me. Why not? He's a competitor. He wants that throne and wants that position that LeBron has. None of this bothers me. Why does he have to, if LeBron's not one of his favorite players he likes to watch, or he doesn't think LeBron's the best player, the second best player, who cares? He has a right to that opinion. Everybody doesn't have to, in Kansas City we call it jeffing. Everybody jeffs with LeBron James. Everybody want to be best friends. I don't know what they call it other cities, but we call it jeffing. And I like what KD's doing here.
I love it too. He's too close to LeBron to actually crown LeBron. He's like, y'all can crown him, but I'm right there, if not better, in my own mind. Yeah, he's more accomplished. Yeah, he has more God-given talent, but damn it, I may be better at this game of basketball, certainly in this moment, so I don't call that hate either. It's just interesting that all this starts to circulate every time KD comes up. in part because KD is showing that fire. Like, I really deserve more in this conversation of who's the king now, but I don't want to be the one to insert myself, so sometimes it comes out this way.
When we talk about the top of the league, who we talk about? KD and LeBron.
Yeah.
So out of KD's mouth, why does every player, when you talk about your favorite players, why does LeBron have to be in everybody's list? Exactly what you said. He has the right to like who he wants to like. He looks at it like as more as a KD, Kobe and Jordan, their legacy's done. We know who Kobe and Jordan are. Why would I say LeBron's name when me and him are neck and neck for fighting to be the best player? There's no disrespect in LeBron. He loves LeBron. We had conversations many a times off camera about how much he loved LeBron, even him talking about Lakers uniforms. You know, so the narrative that people are trying to pit him against LeBron, it should be over with because that's never been his take on it. Yeah. He looks at it as, okay, who doesn't respect Kobe and Jordan? As far as the game and guys that came to the game and played the game with relentlessness, nobody has been more relentless than Kobe and Jordan. And I've played against them. Nobody wanted to win more than them two. LeBron doesn't have that. And that's what certain players who's played the game, who's played against Jordan and Kobe, that's what they see different. Now, if I was speaking on the top players, of course LeBron would be in there. I'm not sitting there neck and neck with LeBron to be the top player in the league.
Right.
So I would definitely say LeBron is one of the best, but he's tired of people trying to pit him against LeBron. He has a number of respect for LeBron, and he has the right to have his favorite players without LeBron being on the list.
The problem is the narrative and who it's coming from because of the history of KD and the things he's said and done in the past, the burner account, going to Golden State. And That's why. That's why every time he says something and maybe it seems like a slight, we talk about the toxic environment, even though it was true, at LeBron. When he says this, that Mike, Kobe, he said Kyrie because he's my friend, okay?
Right.
Oh, where's LeBron? Well, it's because it's coming from Kevin Durant. And that's the challenge that he's going to face anytime the conversation comes up when he puts something out, and especially when it either mentions LeBron or leaves him out, everybody's going to point to that because that's where it's coming from. I remember GP, Gary Payton. You ask GP, hey, man, I thought I was better than Jordan. That's how he thought. But that's how he thought. Right. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. Now, statistics may prove otherwise, but when you're competing at that high level.
Your eyes, too.
Yeah. Well, your eyes.
And numbers.
And numbers and a bunch of other stuff.
But I ride with GP, though.
But you know what I'm saying? But GP gave Mike his credit, but it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to watch him all the time or I'm going to, bow down to Jordan. Right. I'm just not going to do that.
Marcellus, I'm going to give you some good news because this is where I really think this is all headed. Honestly, I think KD is laying the foundation to come to the Clippers. And I think this is all just seasoning to prepare this meal of KD versus LeBron right here in L.A. Yeah. Just look at all these L.A. teams, the Rams, the Chargers. They're all gearing up with superstars. The richest man in sports is Steve Ballmer.
Yes.
They got a plan to try to get Kevin Durant here. And so I just think Kevin Durant is actually being smart here. Someone has gotten in his ear and said, you know what? Don't try to be BFF with LeBron. Go this other route. We're going to turn this into a competition. You're going to catch LeBron at the end of his career. You still will be in your prime. You'll be right here in L.A., backed by the richest owner in sports. I think this is a smart play to set himself up as the ultimate competitor against LeBron.
And every player, especially a guy like KD and Kawhi, they don't want to go under LeBron's legs. So they want to kind of go somewhere and build their own. And I'm going to tell you why he said Kyrie's name, because a lot of people don't understand why he said Kyrie's name. As big guards that like to dribble and like to, most of our favorite players are point guards, are guards. So I can understand when he says a guy like Kyrie that can finish and that can play like that because as big guards, we want to do some of those things those small guards do. And I can understand that.
All right, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Steven. Time to get anti-social. All right, Darnell Smith, our social media manager's here to tell us what's popping on those Twitter
What's cracking like a maggot? What up? Yeah, man. We're going to get it going with Marcellus' Clippers.
Yeah, no, not last night.
Man. He ain't going to claim him after last night?
No.
Brian Windhorst has reported that Clippers owner Steve Ballmer has a plan in the works that would involve the Clippers landing both Kawhi and Kevin Durant in free agency next summer.
Yeah.
The story got Marcellus' attention, tweeting, quote, They can't say no. Any chance this happens?
Hell yeah, it's a chance it happens. I have satellites out there that are telling me things that the proposal is greater than just what you can offer them in terms of being on our team, having an opportunity to get a championship and money. It's also the fact that they saying this new arena, part of the city, tandem with the richest owner in sports, potential equity. I've heard all kind of outlandish things that's going to make this hard to say no to.
I just think it's going to come down to want to. And I really think for Kevin Durant, as we were talking last segment, I think he wants to.
Yeah.
Come to L.A., play for, the richest owner in sports, and take on LeBron James. And if you take down LeBron James, that just takes your legacy to another level.
And it's amazing, Mark, and they've never won. You imagine what that does for your reputation, legacy, gets rid of all that Golden State hate that people try to give them.
Oh, that sounds good, but anyway.
hate.
Moving on to a football topic that always has Twitter buzzing. Eric Reid was hit with a $26,000 fine for this hit that went unpenalized. This is the third time Reid has been fined since joining the Panthers in September. When the safety spoke to reporters on Tuesday, he said he would be adding the NFL's on-field fines to his collusion claim. Y'all think this is a good idea?
All right, look, y'all know I love to watch Cam Newton, so I watch a lot of Carolina Panthers football. Eric Reid has been dirty all year. Dirty hits all year. Some of them have gone uncalled, like this one here. But I've seen several of them. He's decided to be a dirty player from the safety position this year. And so he's whining about something that is irresponsible right now. He's the James Harrison right now of the league.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you can see the animus. He's going to direct everything towards his case. Hey, if you got a case open already, why not add to it? I'm not mad at that fact. But just doesn't seem like he's in a place of joy playing the game. It just seems like everything is about this case and everything's about the cause. And I think a lot of players are with the cause, but they still are protesting in effort to get the game better, to play better, and to enjoy the process. But Eric Reid doesn't seem like he's enjoying too much of this.
No, doesn't like the game of football right now.
Yeah.
Darnell, what's next?
Yeah, sticking with the NFL, Corey Zimmer-White, daughter of Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer, took to Instagram to defend her father, who was taking a lot of heat after Monday's loss to the Seahawks. Zimmer-White wrote, "He gets to work every day at 4 a.m. and works until 9 or 10 at night. He works his ass off to find a way to win for all these so-called fans that tear him apart. If you don't appreciate and can't recognize everything he's done for this team, then you are no fan." Y'all like Zimmer's daughter standing up for him here?
This is a private note. This is a diary entry that somehow went public. And so it's not meant for public consumption. Love that she supports her dad, but so-called fans, no, they got true fans, and they get upset at the coach from time to time. Thicker skin.
Yeah, exactly. I had a discussion with my wife one time early in the social media days, and she decided, I saw somebody comment on you, and I had to respond. I said, I'm going to tell you one thing. You do that again, baby. Divorce court. No, but the seriousness of this, man, it comes with the territory. You got to be thick-skinned, and it's your allies, your family. Everybody got to take this, man. Ride or die. A lot of coaches are good that work hard. A lot of coaches that are bad work hard. And don't go with the angle of he's working hard and he's stressed out as the reason why he's a good coach. I like Zimmer, though.
All right, Darnell, what's trending?
Yeah, last but not least, on the Herd today, Colin was talking about Belichick and Tom Brady's relationship and why he thinks it's on a up and up. Take a listen.
Garoppolo's failures, and there's some doubters around San Francisco, around that team and Garoppolo, judgment and body, have brought Bill and Brady back together.
Y'all agree that Brady and Belichick are good now because of Garoppolo?
Yeah, I think they're good now. I don't think it has a damn thing to do with Garoppolo. I do think their relationship has been repaired just because at the end of the day, they both can kind of look around and be like, I ain't getting nothing better.
Yeah, you're right,
and my number two ain't better than this number one. And so eventually you just get back together.
At the core of this is the play out of I was right and you were wrong. And that's a part of the power dynamic when you're talking about two fierce competitors who are trying to share in equity all the love that comes from their success. So there's always a little peak, like, you know, I leave a team and then I look at that team, I don't want them to be successful. You bet on this guy, supposedly, if I'm Tom Brady, and he's not exactly what you thought. That can change how you approach that same person. I think that's where they're going with that, and that's a power play.
I'm gonna throw you a curveball, because you haven't had time to think about it, and so I regret it. But what do you think? Does smart trump arrogance at some point? Bill Belichick is arrogant, but he's also very smart.
Very smart.
And I think the Malcolm Butler and some of the other things he did last year were arrogant.
Yeah.
But eventually, maybe his intelligence trumped his arrogance.
No, I agree with you. Look, we all get drunk on our power, and it's up to you to sober yourself, or you will get a DUI out there. And I think Belichick was heading towards a DUI with Tom Brady, and finally they worked it out. They pulled over the side of the road. Calmer thoughts prevailed, and they're in a better place. I kind of understand that.
Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval rating for Dak Prescott. Wait, is this an In-N-Out outfit? Where are you working at tonight?
That's out and
So
out.
what you think I'm gonna say? Welcome to Good Burger, home with Good Burger, I take your burger. No, I'm not.
Where your hair net? First of all, get all them braids
Hold on,
in
wait
my
a minute, hold on, wait a
fries.
minute. Hey, look at this. I look like Richard Sherman if I do like that. Hey, wait.
Oh, man, leave Compton alone. Leave Compton alone. Sherman.
Jerry Rice had that look too.
Jerry Rice. That was the worst.
All right, here's a highlight from our discussion earlier about Dak Prescott.
Jerry.
Cowboys fans are being set up for a major disappointment. This whole thing reminds me of the TV show Dallas. Marcellus, I think you're probably too young to remember Dallas.
Oh, yeah, I am. Somebody who actually watched Dallas, too, with his old bud.
You're right.
For sure, wasn't it? Anyway.
Keep your eyes on the prize. It starts at the top. Jerry Jones, don't mislead this team into thinking that they've done something they haven't. It's too early in the season.
All right, that was our conversation about Dak. Uncle Jimmy, what's your take?
Will y'all please stop asking me about this Civil War hero throwback, Dackery Fitzgerald Prescott. Please.
Change his middle name.
Nah, well, whatever the hell it is.
Sinbad.
Nah, for real, man. And by the way, let me say this real quick. And I love Dallas. I love Dallas.
You love
Little Charlene Tilton, you know, fine. Riding Uncle Jimmy's caddy any time. You know what I'm saying?
What about Dak Prescott?
Yeah. Oh, I got a quick, easy answer for that.
Yeah.
That's Al B. Shore. Dak Prescott is Al B. Shore. Remember Al B. Shore came out with his first album? Everybody loved Al B. Shore's first album. Went to the top, right? Everybody kicking. But there were some of us that watched, and we saw that this was a prefabbed artist. You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Look here, wait a minute, remember the album? He had on the sun-washed jacket, had the S-curl, and the lokes. Little light skin, you know, that was that time when light skin was in.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
They were winning.
Yeah, just pretty, you know, for no reason.
Dude, you sound jealous.
Yeah, he knew that.
What the hell I got to be jealous about? Hell, I ain't got nothing to be jealous about that. I'm just keeping it real. Hell, if I'm gonna keep it real, I'm just gonna tell you the truth. Really? They really Milli Vanilli. Now that's what the hell they is. If you watch Dak Prescott's lips and watch Jason Garrett when he called the play in, Jason Garrett be like, throw the ball wide to Colt. Dak get back here, hand it to Zeke. Come on, man.
Play calls don't match
I saw
up.
the play. I saw what his lips said.
It ain't adding up.
I think Milli Vanilli's going a little bit too far.
Yeah,
that's a little rough, man. Milli Vanilli has no
Oh,
credibility.
really?
You got it.
Okay, I'll tell you what. At the end of this season, I want all y'all to say this. Boy, you know it's true that Prescott is boo, boo, boo.
You can't look like Milli Vanilli and sing it. It's too real. It's too real. Cover your hair up. My fries are getting dirty.
No, that's a little too rough on Dak
Yeah,
Prescott.
Dak's
We got to get
way
to
better
some
than
real ratings.
Oh, my
Milli
God.
Vanilli's a little strong.
Get a double
okay.
cheeseburger.
Here.
That does look like Richard Sherman. All right, I want to get Dak Prescott. I got him at a 56. He's up 3 points from the last time I rated him. He's still he just moved into role player status. He was scout team. I've moved him up 3 points in terms of job performance from a 10 to a 13. All-time greatest, I keep it a 3. Character, I stay the same at 22, like Dak's character. authenticity at 18. Who knows what Dak really thinks? He's getting a little arrogant, a little cocky, but
He getting arrogant, Dak.
Remember last week when he was talking about I'm gonna show the Philadelphia. Yeah, he was a little spicy.
I like it.
Anyway,
man. Little spicy.
56.
God,
He's a role player.
And you like Dak Prescott.
I do.
With friends like you, we don't need enemies. Look at that. That is hell.
Keeps it real.
And I give him love. I like the new spicy Dak. And he's playing better. Obviously, he has a #1 receiver, a legit bona fide star on the outside, and his play is showing it. So I give him an increase in most numbers. Job performance 18. Winning quarterback out there, division leader.
Job performance 18.
18.
Wow.
Yeah, did Dak Prescott not throw for 400 and plus yards last week? Yes, he did. Character, I love his character even more. He's starting to show who he really is, not just company man. And authenticity, man. Let us into that world of Dak Prescott and why you are a beast. I know it's going to unveil. Let's go with it. So 65.
He's still a role player.
Yeah, but
he's a high role player in your
high role player, right.
Almost an all-star.
Yeah.
If he wins this week, beats the Colts, maybe he's an all-star.
That'd be major.
All right, Milli Vanilli over
here.
Right.